Hey everybody, welcome back to Tavian's World of Reptiles. I hope you are all doing well and taking care of yourselves. So today's video is a little bit of a follow-up to yesterday's video. Yesterday I talked about how I believe we as private keepers need to adjust and shift away from keeping in the same manner as breeders. And this was inspired because I was kind of getting really sad to see so many obese snakes all across Facebook and other social media settings, and that being because of us emulating breeders in our keeping. But there were a few comments put underneath that video that that had some slight disagreements to what I was saying, and what they were saying was 100% valid, and so I felt inspired to go ahead and make this second video to go more in depth about certain things. And so I definitely want to give a shout out to Carla from One Soft Kiss, and as well as Gaye from Gotta Love Carpet Pythons as well, because those comments were absolutely 100% valid, and I definitely think they warrant, or that topic specifically warrants a video, and I definitely want to come back and go more into that. That being said, before I continue, I feel it is important for me to explain what I mean when I say obese when it comes to snakes. When I think about an obese snake, this is a snake that is larger than it should be, and not just in any healthy manner. I mean that this snake has a lot of extra fat deposits all across its body, which is causing current and long-term damage to that snake, and is actually affecting the welfare of that snake's life in the long run. So when I say obese, that is really what I mean, and that's really what I'm talking about. However, it is important to remember that when you are seeing a lot of the snakes out there, not all the snakes you are seeing that look bigger than normal are actually obese and unhealthy snakes. And that is what this video is going to be all about. Today's video is going to be about recognizing and learning how we come about getting snakes that are a bit larger than normal, but are also still very healthy. Now, it's important to remember that whether you're a breeder or whether you are a private keeper, we are all doing things in a very different manner from each other, one way or another. And it doesn't mean that my way is right, doesn't mean that your way is right. It just means that we've all chosen to take a little bit different a route for however works best for us and our animals. Now, I know there's this whole like, oh, my snake is bigger than yours thing that happens all over the media. You know, we get that. But the fact of the matter is, we want large snakes, but we don't want snakes that are unhealthy. But it is 100% possible to get that. And this is why I said it's important to not always judge these snakes that you're seeing right off the bat and assuming that they are overweight and unhealthy just because they are larger than normal. You can absolutely tell the difference between a snake that is obese and a snake that is very large but still very healthy based off of its body tone. So how do you get a snake that is both very large but still very healthy? This really comes down to the way that you are keeping. Now, we all know that breeders really don't have the most time to really handle their snakes and, you know, a space to just kind of allow them to have large enclosures. They're in these tubs, and they, you know, they may take them out for weighing and all of that for a little bit, but for the most part, they go back in. And even if you think about private keepers, you know, who are kind of keeping the same way as breeders, are keeping them in a tub, and you know, they may come out a little bit more with a private keeper for like handling and all that, but they're still not necessarily getting a lot of exercise. And this is the crossroads between having an obese snake and having a large but healthy snake. Now, a lot of these snakes that are power fed or overfed or whatever it is you may want to call it, and are just kind of stuck in these boxes and aren't really taken out, aren't really allowed to explore, aren't really, you know, really using the energy that they're actually taking in, end up having a lot of extra fat on their bodies because they are just laying dormant and they're not really doing anything. Now, there's a nice large group of people out there like myself, like Carla, like Gaye, who are all about allowing our snakes to come out and climb and do the things that they would do naturally in the wild so that they can actually build all the muscles that they would normally build. And now when they are coming out, they're out there stretching and climbing and pulling themselves up, and they're really working that body, which is very opposite of what snakes in tubs are typically doing. They're kind of sitting in there, and yes, like I said, they may be coming out for handling, but are they really getting a lot of exercise and enrichment in their lives to actually burn off all the energy that they're taking in with all the excessive to food they're eating? No. So we've got snakes who are actually allowed to come out regularly, who are really burning up a lot of energy, moving around and climbing and building muscle and turning that little extra fat into muscle. So snakes like that are actually getting fed a little bit more than probably some other private keepers are doing for their snakes. But does this mean that those snakes are obese? Absolutely not. They may be being fed quite a lot of food, but if you think about comparatively how much they're moving compared to snakes that are kind of in tubs, you actually see that they're using a lot more of that food in their body than those snakes in tubs are. So this is when you go from having a snake that's obese, like a snake that just sits in a tub but also is getting fed a lot, as compared to a snake who's getting fed a lot but is also being allowed to come out and exert all that energy into moving and climbing and building muscle mass for itself. So then you end up with a snake that's growing really large and really strong and really powerful, but also growing really healthily instead of just being growing really fat from a lot of food, but not actually moving and burning that fat and using that fat to turn, using their energy to turn that fat into muscles. The point is, you might see snakes out there that are way larger than normal. This does not mean that they are all obese. And I definitely wanted to come back to this because what you guys said in your comments were 100% valid. That there are lots of people out there who have very large snakes that are not at all obese, but they are allowed to come out. They're allowed to get some exercise. They're allowed to burn off that energy. And because they burn off more energy and because they exercise a lot more, they are getting a lot more food than normal. But that's not necessarily mean that they are getting power fed. So, I hope this video cleared up a little bit for you, Gaye, as well as for you, Carla, and for anybody else who might have been like on the same pages for them when it came to how they were viewing what I was saying in my last video. I definitely stand by what I was saying in my last video about obese snakes and keeping them the way that breeders do, because that, like I said, keeping them like the way breeders do is just creating obese animals, and especially because those animals are being treated like breeders do but are not being provided with the amount of exercise needed to actually burn off the food that they're being provided with. So that is all, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you liked what you see. If you did and you are new to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ding the bell so you get notified on future content. And if you are a returning subscriber, you rock. Thank you again for showing up and watching one of my videos of me rambling about random things involving snakes. So you all take care. Love yourselves. Love your reptiles. Love your loved ones. And you guys keep spreading those herbs.